Well, I'm not sure why anybody would care, but I'm Mike Vollmer. I was a design office employee from 74 through 78. Did a number of projects, all of which were quite fascinating, quite different. I was the project manager for Jerry Moog's first Dynamo. Did the CNC 29, a custom 3/4 tonner called Cricket. Most of the spars for a number of years, including the current spar in Sorcery, the first 61, and a number of other things. Fabulous place to work. Well, I think one of CNC's great attributes was they built great big brutish boats, real powerhouses. The two that spring to mind are the 43 and the 61. And the 43s really were just, they're a lot bigger boat in terms of loads and everything than you see today in a lot of the 43-foot cruisers. They were great, huge, strong boats. And the 61s were just even better. Really stunning boats. The boats I designed, I think my favorite would probably be the 29. It had, it sort of was an evolutionary boat. It had a much more modern interior, a lot more volume inside, in part because of the IOR rule. One of my joys and pleasures was the fact that when Bruce Farr fiddled with the IOR rule sufficiently that they changed it, he also caught the 29 because I'd fiddled the aftergirths on that just as thoroughly, but not as obviously. CNC made the modern racer cruiser, made the modern cruiser. The cruisers today look like the racers of the 50s in a lot of ways. They're big, fast boats, easy to handle. They're CNC's strength was an extraordinarily collegial tank of festering, fermenting young designers. Coffee time would happen. Everybody'd wander around and look at everybody's drawing board and say, what about this? What if you did this? Lunchtime was even longer because you had a whole hour to talk about people's boats. You go in on Sunday morning, everybody had a key to the design office, and there'd be 3 or 4 guys in there working on designs. Out of that came this tremendous leap forward in terms of structure. Big George and Little George pioneered cord construction. Well, it kept moving on. And when you get to Evergreen, which is only 13 years after Red Jacket, they used F-board, which was glass skins on aluminum honeycomb for the interior structure. They used honeycomb cells in the deck with glass skins on that. It was an amazingly strong boat, powerful boat. We'd revolutionized the way boats were built. At the same time, on the cruiser side, we'd taken boats and we'd taken the concept of the racer and we'd made the fast cruising boat. Boats today are easy to sail because that's what came out of CNC. Boat design is, and my drawing board was right next to Ruth Casbag Smith for several years, so I can't talk about designers being male, but from a male point of view, boat design I think must be a lot like being pregnant. You know, it's great fun at the start, and then there's slogging it out and it gets worse and worse and worse, and eventually, after a lot of agony and everything, you go down to the water one day and you put a boat in the water and it becomes a living thing. That's fabulous. And every time I've ever done that is fabulous. You put the sails up, the boat starts moving magically. It's a wonderful thing.